Just I think it does, John. I think it does. I think
just
it's
the three of us.
Yeah, I think
you can do it if you try. Just three of us. You and I and I.
Welcome everyone to the Heroes World Quarantine podcast with our resident crooner, Mr. Rob Gadet.
Why, hello.
I like the sound.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Flight of the Conchords? It's like that.
Yeah.
First of all,
that's how Rob sounds.
That's one of the greatest shows ever.
It is, and I'm glad that the new season is going to come.
Boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
Rob understands what it's about when it's about socks and what day of the week it is. So
that's right.
It's a thing.
Excuse me, where I wear my bike helmet with hair.
Welcome. Wow. What fanatical craziness is starting off with? Okay, so welcome everyone to the Heroes World Quarantine podcast. As I restart, I'm joined, of course, by one of the owners and proprietors of Heroes World. That be John. Say hello.
Howdy, folks.
And of course, our resident crooner, as I mentioned before, Mr. Rob Gadet.
Why, hello, everybody.
Yes. So thank you all for joining us as we give our annual thoughts on DC's annual Finangle, the Fandome 2021. This year's event was broadcast both on YouTube and on their website. It was a 4-hour event. So we're going to just go quick hits, tell you all about the events, and be very transparent as I myself and Rob watched almost all of it. And we gave John the best hits. So John is not going to give everything, but John, we curated as much as we could, and we're going to discuss it. Andre can't be with us today. He had a life, and we totally understand.
He's stuck in the fandom right now, trying to get out.
I respect him more for being, wow, the Batcave. So incredible to be here. Arms crossed. Body language.
See you guys later.
Every single person was like, it's fantastic.
See you guys at the gift shop.
Yeah. But yeah, Andre's still stuck in the Batcave gift shop, so let's just we'll pour out some of our old English for him. Okay, so we're gonna jump through, go hit as many things as possible, and we'll see what happens today. It was quite an interesting event, Rob. General thoughts. It was, I would say, a mixture of retail, a mixture of featurettes, a mixture of conversations. Not as probably, to be fair, not as awesome as last year's event, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah,
Quickly.
so I think I enjoyed it. I think I can agree with you when you say it's maybe not as hard-hitting and awesome as last year, but I believe that was in part to three different things. And one of them was that last year's fandom was broken up into two sections. So you had the movie and TV stuff on day one, and then about a month and a bit later, you had more of the comics and different talk of other products on day two. And I think that this is all combined into 4 hours, this one. So I think that people were showing up for certain things, and you end up having to wait quite a fair amount of time. Listen, it was 4 hours. So, and you can't fast forward through this stuff. It's live, right? Like it was recorded, but it's being broadcast live. That was part and parcel as one. Number two, is that
were there any breaks though?
No breaks. I think
they were short, superficial, like here are pictures of fan creations of comics. That was their breaks, but not a traditional break.
Yeah, sketch. Yeah, like here's some people doing cosplay as your favorite characters for like 15 seconds, right? Here and there. I think they were trying to do a lot of fan service. And so what we just mentioned, the people with their, doing their sketch art, showcasing that cosplay, their dogs dressed up as stuff. Like, I feel like they had a lot of information, but then they tried to also do... They had a lot of stuff that they wanted to unveil and showcase, but then they had a lot that they were resting on respect of what has come before. So yesterday, it just happened to be the 20th anniversary of Smallville's premiere. And so they had the chat with Rosenbaum and Clark Kent. What's his face?
Tom Welling.
Superman.
Tom Welling, thank you. And that was like a good 7-8 minutes. And you could actually watch the full thing on another link. So that was a fairly long, I guess you could say an interlude almost, or if you want to say a break or whatever. They also had about a 10-minute, send off of Supergirl because this is her final season. So there was a lot in there that I think really kind of stretched it out. I will say though that Fandome, I still feel put on a fantastic product in what they were trying to get across. I just think that you probably could have dropped this down and cut out about an hour and maybe had a quick 2-minute hit and then said, here's our follow our links for more. 2 hours? Yeah, maybe. They probably could have, right?
Here's, I think, and John was busy working, which is why he wasn't able to watch it live with us. And that's why we sent him all our notes last night, scribbling.
I got the cheat sheet.
Huge
sorry.
sheet.
Yeah.
But the one critique is that watching Zack Snyder's fan event, the Justice League thing that he did a few months ago.
Yeah.
What this event really lacked was authenticity of fans. You keep on mentioning it's for the fans. We love you.
Yeah.
There were no fans anywhere to be here. Part of what makes Fan Expo and all these things awesome is that you have that, that viral video of, the little kid asking questions to the actor on stage. And sometimes it's really cringe and sometimes it's wonderful. Even, actors, can really connect with the fans. And even if they planted like, we're going to vet you and then we're going to have a random person ask a question, that really would resonate. And this was just, actors are great interviewing, but it's not the same as a fan event. So it was lacking that type of free-flowing conversation that you would see from a regular fan event. So it was very polished. Like, don't get me wrong. I think, Rob's, to your point, last year was nice. This year was even more polished. I think the actors and they were really focused on, instead of grabbing more people, let's bring out like Candace Patton from Flash, and she did a bit where it's like Flash News, and she kept on reading the prompter, and she was really good at that. But it wasn't anything where you felt like there was any real person outside of a very, very vetted, clean actor asking questions.
No, I agree. And so like to your point, as an example, they brought out the cast and director of Suicide Squad at first saying thank you to everybody for the support that they've had. But then it went into like almost like a 10-minute bit where James Gunn was interviewing and talking to the entire cast. And they were asking, or was that for Peacemaker? Anyways, he said, "Oh, we've got some questions from the internet." That's what it was. So it segued into a 10-minute interview with the cast of the Peacemaker, which is fine. You want to promote the show. Yep. He goes, "We've got some questions for people on the internet." To Stu's point, you could have easily had those individuals. They could have played their question. They could have recorded themselves and uploaded it, as opposed to James Gunn reading. Okay, from John Ho Heroes World on Twitter, he's asking, John, why, what size is your junk? To John Cena. So it was just kind of weird in that way. So I think that they would have probably better served, because they kept saying this is about you, the fans, and there was a lack of fans interacting in some capacity.
Yeah, honestly, even everything they did was talking about fans, and there was not one non-paid employee in this event.
Right.
Like, if that's what it makes sense, John. It's watching this event from beginning to end. It was like a weird conflict of interest. Every single person on this event has been paid by DC, so there was not a genuine like, are any of these people not here?
Not associated with any DC property. Yeah.
Everyone, if you had to fill out like the a questionnaire of like, are you affiliated? Every single person would be like, yes, I am. Or they would have to hashtag ad. So it was a really weird.
Are you eligible to win this contest? Because
exactly.
You're an employee of blah, blah, blah. No.
Yeah. So everyone on their tax form will write DC Entertainment or Warner Brothers as like an employer. So that's my big takeaway as in like this event, and why, and that's, we'll talk about this at the very end, but that's the biggest weakness of these events when it's not.
So everyone was like a hype person / positive.
Everyone was positive, and that's fine.
Or very clearly.
Yeah, everyone was there, and really you could see that. For example, they highlighted Batwoman, which 100% should be highlighted. They did, and we'll go into it because we're not going to talk too much about her. about the DC shows. There's a lot of highlights of like, here's the DC shows. Here are probably something you're not watching, and now catch it all on DC Direct. So a lot of it was
HBO Max,
HBO Max, product integration of like, here's something, and if you've missed it, here are all the seasons on HBO Max.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I saw they did a Legends of Tomorrow, like 100 seconds of Legends of Tomorrow, which was a highlight reel. It actually looked kind of hype.
Well, it's our 100th episode coming up, right? So yeah, I mean, you're right. But 100 seconds is far better than doing, again, a 10-minute interview on something and then saying, hey, or even like the Pennyworth, they announced like Pennyworth season 3 or 4, and it's moving from WPix to HBO Max. And that was like 6 or 7 minutes. I think the last thing I was going to say when I had the 3 points, I hit the 2. The last one was at least last year, we had a schedule. You had a schedule that you were able to sign up for, to say, hey, I want to attend this event. And so you knew, like, if you was like, oh, I'm not really into like watching a 5-minute thing on Super Pets, that's my pee break. I'm going to bounce out, or I'm going to go fold laundry. I'm going to walk the dog for 10 minutes while we're doing the Supergirl retrospective. That would have been helpful. At the end of the day, people are I think people online seem to enjoy it, but they did say, well, it was too much of this. A lot of people were there for the movies and there for some of the TV shows. You have to pay fan service right across the board. You can't just give some, like, you're never going to be perfect for everybody. So I just think I agree with Stu, trim some of the fat. People were there for the big stuff, but I'm glad that people like John's a big Smallville guy. Maybe you, John, would have really liked the conversation with Rosenbaum and Welling. But
you
can watch the whole thing.
I'm gonna have to go back and see that. Yeah, Welling's been on Rosenbaum's podcast a couple times, so they kind of had that mini reunion. But yeah, it'd be nice.
And they announced
they didn't get more of them together.
They announced a 20th anniversary set.
Yeah, that's a big deal
coming out, right?
And Kristen was, all 3 of them have done it before. So Rosenbaum and Inside of You is his podcast, and he's had a lot of good people. So it's worth a listen to some of the actors, and he's a very interesting character, Mr. Michael Rosenbaum.
Yeah, he just had Ming Na Wen on there. So
yes. It's one of those things where Rob, to your point for point 3, I think that you're right. Last year was a weird mixture, and you could sign up, but I think they noticed that the panels that should have been highlighted, for example, we're going to talk about Milestone Media. Probably the eyeballs were not on it, and I actually would have. For that type of content, I'm glad they push it to the main group, because representation matters and some of that stuff is important. But it was weird because, again, some of the other stuff just felt forced, but I can understand why they did it that way. It's just, again, to make it tight and professional, I guess they decided to kick out some of the, as I mentioned before, the points about generic fan interaction. But this was filmed weeks in advance. So you could did open call and then rehearsed and got people to regular fans to ask questions, like, and then picked the best ones to, like, again.
Or popular YouTubers or streamers or something like that. Hasbro's done it for their toy conventions. They brought in popular streamers and had them on in the background and like asked for their reactions and stuff.
Like the Oscars. The Oscars have got their categories, right? And then in between, their big, actor, supporting actor, they always have costume design, this and that. Yeah. I think what this would have benefited from, you're there for the Black Adam, the Flash, the Batman, and a Shazam. Like that was, their big 4 reveals. And then you could have said, hey, we're talking video games, and then had all of your video games talked about in this one section, and then boom, the Flash, and then say, let's talk about our in production stuff. You got your Blue Beetle, you got your Batgirl, sorry. Like they could have done that, so that way you're like, oh, you're talking about in production stuff, cool. And if you don't really care to hear about season 3 of Batgirl, or Batwoman, if you wanted, you could bounce out or whatever. So I think they probably could have staggered and categorized things, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, I still think they did a much better job than what San Diego Comic-Con's done online, and they're still the top bar. The
bar is so low. Like that's not a plus. At the end of the day, this event unfortunately had problems in terms of content. So at the end of the day, I think as we go through it, not a spoiler alert, nothing outside of that Batman trailer was really that special. The Flash had a thing, but they even before Ezra Miller was caveats like, by the way, we're still filming. By the way, there's
even though nothing... they know they've actually stopped filming, it's done now. So yeah, like kind of a weird
like he went the disclaimer.
Well, maybe he recorded that like freaking months ago.
Yeah, the disclaimer was like, and again, Ezra Miller's
controversial,
but also I'm like clothing choice for that. I'm like, all right, dude, you're going for it. Like you got.
So John, he came out, he had his longer hair down to here.
He had the Sean.
Yeah, I saw he was wearing like
hair,
a leather choker and stuff.
Yeah,
like
he was
that.
wearing like a
That-
choker, and I was
that's
just
what
like,
he's down
okay.
with.
the Sean Connery chest hair. I'm like, way to go, Ezra. Like you're really pulling your 007
statement.
here.
The
But-
one thing I thought about that, did you notice the more adult sense? Like this is what differentiates DC from Marvel. Right off the bat, The Rock starts 6 minutes in, and he's like, you're gonna see, serious shit. And then they talked on something else. I can't remember what it was, and they're like, oh, he's just an asshole. Like, so they didn't drop F-bombs, but they're pretty free flowing in their language throughout the course, which is definitely differentiates itself from what you would never see Chris Evans or whatever coming out saying, man, this is the shit. Like it would just never happen. So
But I think that's part of the Rock's thing.
cool with
So
that.
we'll jump to it in a second.
All right.
Like I said before, nothing here in terms of the movie production was anything jaw-dropping. Last year we had the Justice League trailer. We had a bunch of things drop that were like we were really surprised and awed by. And I think we're used to, especially for Comic-Con and these type of events, even D23, like the Disney, like typically at these events you have big things that drop. And this was lacking in big things outside of the Batman trailer. Everything else was kind of like, okay, like you're doing stuff, and you're telling me
I was missing a big. I honestly, they were saying having big surprises coming up, and I was like, oh, maybe they're gonna drop like something about a Superman, like some new project that hasn't been announced yet. Nothing.
Like no drop the mic moments
Yeah.
where we're used to seeing at these type of big, like even at Disney. Like if you look at all the Comic-Cons, Kevin Feige and the Disney folks, like they'll just like, oh, by the way, we have this thing called Blade, and Herschel, just all of a sudden, just like, oh, this person just walks on stage. You're like,
Herschel Ali's coming.
Yeah, you're like, what that? Like every single time Disney, I think they're cognizant of like spacing it out. Like when they do those events, like it's big things that drop. And I think that DC has, and pandemic and things like that, and we're not talking about Blue Beetle, but they brought out the director and like, here we go, Blue Beetle, here's a concept picture, but that's not what I want to see. A concept photo is not the same as like, even behind the scenes is kind of cheating, as like, here's behind the scenes content. It's not the same as a trailer.
Here's the craft services table.
Yeah, here's
a set being built.
Yeah, here's some green screen. Here's some concept art. It's like, here's Jason Momoa just talking about how jazzed he is to be back on set, and here's everyone hugging. I'm like,
here's a mat and some wire rigs.
Yeah, so
there's going to be a stunt here eventually. You're not going to see anything. Sorry, folks.
So this has been, Comic-Con spoiled us in terms of big, because it's all of the studios dropping something big, and DC only did one trailer, which is the Batman trailer, which we'll talk about at the end. But other than that, nothing else was really big enough.
I think that in the Flash, I think that Flash trailer, the minute trailer or whatever it was, I think that would probably that's probably on par, like not on par, but that would be right next to. Nobody's really talking about the Black Adam stuff. Nobody's talking about the.
But even the Flash
stuff,
was so. In terms of, we'll talk about it again. He put so many disclaimers in front of it, and by the time you watch it, you're like, okay, whatever. Like it kind of took away the pop. It's kind of, by the way, nothing's been filmed, and by the way, it's like, you're
you know what it is? It's Ezra Miller. You should have had the director instead. When Ezra Miller lands, was like, I'll see you next year, or actually, you'll see me. And I was like, oh, piss off, man. Like,
more important, I think he says more importantly, you'll see more of me or something like that. So as a highlight reel, I thought it was fun. You guys sent me all the trailers lumped together in our chat, and I watched maybe, I guess it was 10 minutes of everything in a row. I was impressed. I was pretty impressed by that. But yeah, if I had to sit through 4 hours to get to those bits, I 100% see where you guys are.
I'm not gonna lie,
that's kind of unfortunate.
I had multi screens going on. I had the fandom going, and then I had a couple spreadsheets for my basketball dynasty league, and I was like going through them, like looking at metrics and the spreadsheet.
So it's a good event to have on the background, but
it was
4 hours to seem
perfect. You
like
could not have just sat there staring at the screen. You would just been like, what is happening? Luckily, I had a fantasy draft that I'm preparing for on Sunday, so I'm like, I'll just look at some basketball player stats and like at the same time. So that was
so could you compare it to like maybe an Oscar party when people used to hold those? Like, how long is the Oscar
parties are much more fun because
that's what I'm saying. So what does it have that this doesn't.
Oscar party,
it's that interaction, the carpet and
there are games and
interviewers
things.
talking to them, right?
There are games that you can do in the Oscar party where you pick who wins, and at least you could do that. As Rob's point, you had no idea who's coming up. You had no idea what was happening, so you just sat there going, "What will happen next?"
Well, because you you didn't want to like bounce out, like you know, I actually had I had to clean one of the bathrooms. My daughter had a sleepover, and so I was like, I went upstairs to clean the bathroom, and I brought my tablet and I put it on because I was like, well, I don't want to miss anything. And of course, during that moment, the Shazam panel starts. I'm like, oh, of course, it's happening, right? So that was the thing. It's like you couldn't plan it's Saturday afternoon, man. It's 1 to 4 Eastern time or 4:30. You can't plan shit because you're like, I don't want to miss any of these big reveals.
Yeah, so they're a bit ambitious in thinking that people are just
honestly
block off 4 hours.
True, only nerds like us or pure DC heads would care because frankly, if you were a Marvel fan and like there are some people that are straight one or the other camp, you just would have sat there laughing at us nerds and they're like, this is what you waited for? This is worse than watching a 4-hour movie. Essentially what we did was we watched a 4-hour movie and then we waited for the end like teaser, which was the Batman movie trailer. And that's what we were all there for. We watched this whole 3-hour movie, and at the end we waited for the teaser for the next movie, which is Batman. That's pretty much what happened, John. We watched a 4-hour movie that was very meh, and we waited till the credits rolled and we're like, oh, Batman trailer, huzzah. So anyways, okay, we're gonna go jump through our topics. It's gonna be quick hits. That are our general thoughts on that. So for folks who missed it, you didn't miss anything. Black Adam.
Everything's online,
well,
so
we're gonna catch you up.
We're gonna catch you up. We're gonna catch speed round. Black Adam's coming out July 29th, 2022. The Rock came out, saw the costume, you saw the helmets, you saw Noel Centineo, you saw people talking about it. Do you care, John, about this thing at all, Black Adam? Because as Rob was saying, this is kind of like the 90s, like new Coke with attitude. It was like, this is like the new Pepsi. It's like, look at me, I'm a hero, but I say bad words. So this is Black Adam. Do you care about Black Adam?
Yeah, but I'll be a little bit biased. The guy playing Hawkman, Idris Hodge, I think his name is. Another alum from Friday Night Lights. We're getting a lot of
Ray
really
Voodoo,
good
baby.
Coming from that show. So I look forward to him, and it was nice to see him on screen. And he looks huge now. He's very, very jacked up. And then I think they showed a little bit of a sizzle reel, and then they cut to The Rock. The Rock gives you a speech, and then they show like a good.
John, you don't have to describe the trailer. Give us your thoughts. You're basically
a portion
telling
of the
us
intro.
what
So I thought it looked pretty good. I like.
You care? That was the answer question.
Yeah. So it looks like he's hyping up that. I don't know if we know if he's technically playing the villain, Black Adam,
anti-hero.
Or he's going to be quasi. Oh yeah, so I think he's going to be a quasi good guy, I guess. But I like the idea that he's amping up that new bad guy.
Not at all, John.
Not at all. Did you not see it? So they showcase the first. 1 minute, the introduction of Black Adam in modern day time, because we know it takes place in 2 different periods. He grabs a guy, a soldier, by the neck.
Yeah, he Mortal Kombats him. Yeah,
exactly. Electrocutes the guy and burns his entire flesh off. I don't remember the last time a good guy did that, John. So
no. But I looked at them. They didn't look like military guys, and they didn't look like police. They looked like some type of mercenary. So I guess could be some type of bad guys, But overall, it did look good. I think they used the Boss Logic artwork to kind of prelude it. I don't know if that's going to be in the actual movie. And The Rock claims that it's some of his biggest action scenes.
Do you care? Yeah. Like you were dragging this out like Fandome.
I like it. Yeah.
Poor John.
He's the worst. Rob. You saw the list of questions, John. You can't drag this out. Are you in or out, Rob?
Yeah. No, I'm in. I'm in. I do just get a little bit concerned though that The Rock is overhyping this whole. The hierarchy of power in the DC universe is going to change. Like he's repeated this line over and over and over again, and I get concerned that as a branding tool, it's just getting to be a bit too much. I'm in. But
then we talked before about how this is not a connected universe. So who cares if you're the power? Like you're great, but you're not connected to any universe. So does it matter?
I think he will be connected. I think they are going to connect him in.
Well, he's hyping Superman. He's hyping Shazam. He's hyping all these things.
Yeah, he is on social media.
I thought they said there's no longer a shared universe. So does it matter anymore to me?
Well, I guess it all matters. Whatever happens after the multiverse, after the Flashpoint. Who the hell knows? Anyways, I'm in.
Okay. John's in because of The Rock alone. Okay, number 2, big behind the scenes, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. James Wan promised, isn't afraid This movie isn't afraid to embrace fantasy. December 16th, 2022, a long ways from now. John, this is going basically
not really. It's 14 months.
Yeah. Well, it basically said it was the in the or the behind the things, the most popular DC movie. It went, balls to the wall last time and basically said we're going to go even further. Is that the right choice? Do you care that this movie's going to go even more heavy on fantasy, even more weird?
Yeah. I quite like the first one, and the fantasy elements are what got me. Like I was like, if I was a kid and this movie came out, the whole like questing element and like all the fantastical stuff happening. So if they're gonna lean that way, I think for sure, and especially Jason Momoa, your star, can definitely lean that direction. So yeah, I think it's a good idea. I don't think we need a gritty reality based Aquaman. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Rob,
although your star has got long scraggly hair and a beard, you don't want a gritty reality based Aquaman.
No, but I think that's where he's got to go like the opposite direction. We don't need
think he's cutting his hair.
We don't need a Batman version of Aquaman. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what? I found the first movie to be a little bit bloated. And so I have a little bit. I'm glad that we don't have to do an origin story now on this. He is Aquaman, King of Atlantis, whatever. I think the Black Manta, I want to have more Black Manta. He, at least in the preview we saw, he looked sick. His costume looked wicked. So I want it to be a lot more of a battle. We see Orm back again. He doesn't have his man bun. So we'll see. I just don't want it to be bloated and overlong. I think that hurt the last movie. It felt like it was a slog to get through, even though it was fun at times. So hopefully James Wan kind of reels it down back a little bit and makes it a bit more tight and concise. But yeah, I'm going to go see it for sure.
Yeah. To be fair, James Wan didn't know if he was going to give the next one. So he basically cherry picked all of the Greenland or all the Aquaman's greatest hits from the Jeff Johns run, and they threw it in through the trench and in the desert. I'm like, wow, this is like 2 trades worth of content in one movie. Just jammed it all in there. It's like, I don't know if I get another one. So to your point, let's not be Fast 5 and make it even more crazy. Let's slow it down and make it more interesting. To your point, I want to see more Ocean Master. I'm always down for Patrick Wilson. He's the best. Big fan of him. All right. So we'll wait and see when a trailer. It's probably not. We're not going to see one for 8 months, knowing the rate of what we're going at right now. So it's going to be a while. Milestone Media, they did something really I thought was cool, where they brought in one of the creators and one of the different producers on it to talk about how there's the return of the Blood Syndicate, as well as a 1,300 page softcover compendium, basically covering some of the classic Milestone runs of Static, Icon, Hardware, and other ones, because not everyone kept their original copies of those comics. And also talking about the DC's new diversity and inclusion program to add writers, inkers, color artists, editors, people diversity to add to the industry. So I thought that was awesome and really a nice touch on DC to talk about it. John, did you have any thoughts on Milestone?
I like the idea of I like the idea of the giant compendium. I think this is a good idea, especially retailer wise. I don't have to carry 5 or whatever different trades. I've got one spot where it's like, hey, check this out. Unfortunately, I guess it might be expensive for some people, but it's going to make it easier for us to sell it and people to just grab everything and they'll try a little bit of everything. The line has a very cool style to it right now. So if you haven't checked out the new line, definitely give it a try.
Rob, thoughts?
Yeah, you know what? I think that this was it originally in the early 90s when Milestone so I was still collecting, but I was still like doing like the Superman stuff.
You were almost frozen in carbonite. That was the time when you disappeared.
But I don't remember it having a large push retailer wise where I was buying comics. So for this coming back, I didn't really have much of an attachment to it the first time, but I'm really happy that it's coming back. There's a lot of people who love a lot of these stuff. A lot of these, they talked about the upcoming the Static movie that Michael B. Jordan is working on. They talked about there's an animated stuff being done. And so I'm really happy. And I think that it's using the imprint and the idea that was originated by the three creators to push diversity and bring them into the world. And I think that that's great. So I'm really happy for those who are excited. Like John said, you've got this compendium coming out, and I would recommend for people who are very interested in that universe to go and grab that stuff and read it, because it's been nothing, you know, people talk about it all the time as how great it was. It just, I think, and I don't know if it was everywhere, but where I was in my area in Scarborough growing up, it wasn't pushed as something to watch, to read. So
nope, it was cool. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game trailer dropped. I thought it's no different than similar to what it was dropped last year. No gameplay footage, but in terms of just fun content, it was super fun to watch. I don't know when the game's going to drop, but it'll come out. So
2022. They didn't give a
2022
specific date.
John, as someone who's playing video games, are you interested in this game?
Yeah, I think the studio behind this is a big deal, right? Is it the same guys who did the Arkham Knight?
No, that's the other.
Yeah,
the other.
That's the other one.
Oh,
this is WB Montreal, I believe.
Yeah. Okay.
And they did do Arkham Origins.
Yeah, Arkham Origins. Yeah. So which was like a greatest hits of the other games or something like that. It looks very impressive, like Stu said. Like you can kind of get a little hint of what the gameplay is kind of looking like, but it does look like mostly cutscenes. So yeah, I think them expanding these characters in Suicide Squad with the King Shark and all that kind of stuff is probably going to work for them. And it was odd to see Deadshot back in there instead of I guess Bloodshot, but he looked cool. So yeah.
Well, Captain Boomerang's in there too, so it's all.
Yeah, I definitely want to see gameplay, and then you see a lot of the heroes in it too. So it looks like they're going for a darker take on what's going on. So.
Rob, thoughts?
Yeah, it looked good. It looked like, you know, obviously the heroes have been infected with some virus of some sort. Yeah. And it's up to Amanda Waller's Suicide Squad to bring everybody in to take them down. Online, I thought a couple interesting things that I saw. People were not overly happy with the way that the Flash looked.
There's a lot of Flash in there.
I think I had messages too. I said, well, at least this looks a lot better than that stupid Avengers game, because at least for the most part, everybody looked pretty close to their counterparts as opposed to that Avengers game. That being said, the Flash looked kind of ridiculous. But somebody, I don't remember who it was, and it got a lot of retweets. It was like, great, you're showcasing a bunch of video games for systems that we still can't buy yet. Because if you're a Sony fan, hopefully you'll get a system next year, because they're next gen exclusives, right? So we'll see what happens. But I thought that was, but again, it looks great. It doesn't surprise me we didn't see gameplay footage. That will probably be for like an E3 stuff. So this is all cinematic. So it looked great. Looked all right.
Next point, Peacemaker trailer as well as a panel dropped. It is coming out on HBO Max on January 13th, 2022. This, of course, is a sequel to The Suicide Squad, starring John Cena and a bunch of other people. John, are you interested in this? Do you care?
Yeah, 100%. This was one of my favorite of the trailers you guys sent to me. But let's be real. This could be called anything, because this Peacemaker character is so obscure. That they are basically just making a TV show, and it's got like a little bit of DC kind of sprinkled in. And this is I thought it was very similar to what basically Marvel's doing with their characters, kind of going the comedic route and going over the top. John Cena looks really good. I actually popped in. I don't know if you guys remember the movie The Marine. One of his first movies. He's come a long way. So he is he shines a lot in this trailer. So I'm actually quite looking forward
body
to
lotion, John.
To be fair, I think
he's hella shiny. Yeah.
I think this character is modeled more after John Cena's personality. Like
It looks like it's basically a John Cena show.
It's
with,
basically
they could have made up a superhero for all intents and purposes. And any diehard Peacemaker fan, sure, come at me. Let me see your Peacemaker collection.
I don't think there's one on the planet probably that's gonna come after you. So, there will be afterwards, but I don't think there's any. All
the characters looked interesting. They had the vigilante or whatever. He was pretty funny.
The sidekick.
So I could definitely see what type of show this is. And I think it is going to drive some people to subscribe to HBO Max or however you're ever going to watch it. But yeah, one of the things that I'm most looking forward to out of all this stuff.
Rob?
Yeah. So before I get in, somebody had asked James Gunn online. Well, I live in the UK. We don't have HBO Max. So for those who might be watching this program and wherever you are in the world, If you're in Canada, the likelihood is we'll have it on Crave up here. But James Gunn said that they are working to ensure that everybody has access to it. So there you go. If you don't have HBO Max, maybe they'll sign with another streaming service or partner. Yeah, I agree. Listen, I think it looks okay. Is it 8 episodes, 6 episodes? I think it looks kind of funny. It looks violent. I think it's not going to be Watchmen HBO level. But it's not going to be CW show either. I think it's probably not for your kids. Although I do feel that the vigilante kind of had a little bit of a Deadpool vibe, the way he kind of just kept poking his head around stuff. Yeah. And I was just like, what are you doing? Right. Yeah. We just got the vigilante in Arrow season 7, like just a couple of years ago. So I don't know. It's just a different take on the character.
But that trailer didn't show anything specifically that wasn't for kids. There was no dirty jokes or.
Well, I think shooting a bottle off a guy's wang might, and they're humping their guns as they're shooting. All I'm saying is you can base it on
those
that
are
movement.
Classic jokes for anyone under the age of 14, my friend. That's getting the kids to watch it. They're like,
listen,
this is the toilet humor.
This is a guy who is questionable about letting his son watch certain things. So all I'm saying is I'll probably watch the first episode, Sans Children, just to see what it's like. But yeah. I suspect it's going to be kind of balls to the wall. I think it's going to be like a very mature show.
Okay,
I'll watch it.
Of course, we'll watch every episode. We'll watch Rob.
We'll be reviewing it here.
We'll review one episode. That's our promise. Other interesting thing that dropped: Mr. Cam Newton, former New England Patriot, former Carolina Panther, dropped his Superman-inspired hat. As Rob and myself were chatting about it on our own.
You can't just say hat. You actually have to describe what this is.
It is Rob. Why don't you tell us what it is?
Oh my God! It's a fedora. So it's not like a baseball hat. You're like, oh, cool. I'll buy a $25 baseball hat. No. So Cam Newton has his own company called Nishika Fine Hats. They are fedoras. And Stu messages me and is like, oh, so it's a Superman inspired. So it's like a blue. They have like 4 different versions of the Clark Kent with like the band with like a press pass in it and a pencil. I'm like, oh, okay. And on the inside, it's got like this nice stitching of
the liner.
The liner has got like, comic stuff or whatever. Stu's like, oh, $300, US. Man, the cheapest one was $750 US. I'm up to $950 US. And I get that they're all handmade. But still, I don't know who these are for, but hey, more power to Cam Newton and this company he's got and signing with DC.
It's a fashion statement.
It's a I wouldn't be able to rock it. But
I don't know, Rob. You could. Don't sell yourself short. I can see you on your cruise in December, walking around the boat, high-fiving, giving finger guns while you're wearing the hat.
Fedora. You know what? Listen, obviously this is the Heroes World podcast. I think as a business expense, it only makes sense that the shop purchases 4 hats for all of us to model and try on. So
there are 4 different versions. So
that's right. Yeah, we could all get one.
We could all get our hat.
John started sweating. He's like, oh my God, that's 4,000 American. So yeah, I don't know. Again, good on you. Did we need to have it's a weird product placement, but whatever, man.
To be fair, as I was joking before, as I was joking with another friend in the other chat about buying a hat for the Calgary Stampede, it's like typically it's $300 to $350 for a regular cowboy hat. So I'm like, okay, how much could the markup be? And not realizing, I guess the Superman inside of it, that's an extra $300. Apparently, that's the difference between that and a regular.
But see, I think to be I'm spending $1,000 Canadian on this special fedora. Even if I could rock a fedora,
you can.
I likely would not want to wear this because I feel like it's more of like an art piece than it is like a practical.
Rob, you could walk around every time you see your wife. Go, my lady.
The wind blows
have your head down.
Blows it off your head.
When I go into my local Walmart, take my hat off, and like, hello, and after you, and then put it back on.
Yeah. There's so many good. You're just selling yourself short, Rob.
No. Well, I guess we will find out when Heroes.
John, the hat. You've seen it. Are you down? Is this an expense?
Yeah. The hat like Stu. My wife used to sometimes get sent out for work in Texas, and she's like, "Do you want anything?" And I'm like, "You know what? I wouldn't mind an authentic cowboy hat." And then she was like, okay, maybe. And then she was like, yeah, these are like $600, $700 for real leather. And I'm like, yeah, no. I definitely can't rock that.
I'll go to the dollar store and get one. Don't worry about it.
When's Halloween coming? I'll buy one of those Halloween hats.
Yeah, when you go to the dollar store, they have those plastic ones. And it's just like, happy birthday. Like, that's what, if I could rock this, hell yeah. That's like, one is like freaking blue with a red ribbon around it.
Yeah, and like a little
They
feather
look
on
pretty
the side,
fire,
yeah.
and as far as collector's items, I guess that'd be unique. Back in the day, the comic Superman Clark Kent used to wear a blue suit with
fedora.
a matching blue fedora, right?
Mhm,
So I guess
mhm.
that's what they're going for. But yeah, sure. If you can afford it, I'd love to have one if you guys want to send us some for comps, but I'm definitely not
that's not
dropping the money.
happening.
Well,
for
right
it
now,
now.
actually, I'm using the Wonder Woman one. You guys can't see it, but I've got the Wonder
Yeah,
Woman.
like, could you
Invisible
even
Jet
wear this
one,
in the
so-
rain? Like, I'd be like, if it's functional, but I'm like, what's the
Yeah,
function?
you're
Takes the
not
sun
going to
out
be
of your eye.
shoveling your
Yeah,
driveway.
you should
in
not wear that in the
February.
rain, John. No, no.
Yeah.
In order to keep the nice form and shape, it's like wearing velvet shoes. You just don't wear it in the rain, my friend.
I think if you're cosplaying as George
suede
Reeves,
shoes.
if you're cosplaying as George Reeves from the Superman TV show from the 50s, you're probably going to really enjoy that press one, the Clark Kent press. Otherwise, good on you. Grab it, put it on your wall.
Definitely those in the 90s and the 2000s who bought suede shoes definitely knows the pain. Oh, you never wear it in the rain, my friend.
That's true.
That's the first way to ruin it. Back when you could buy suede shoes. I think at
Yeah.
Aldo they sold a bunch. That's how.
What brand was that? The Patrick Ewing shoes. They were suede, were they not?
Well, outside of the blue suede shoes, Elvis, but there are other suede shoes. But the cheapest
I
ones
think
you
there
could
was
wear.
Patrick Ewing was one of the early
Probably.
shoes that had like that suede finish.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. Anyways, jumping to the point, Superman, Chief Creative Officer, of course, Jim Lee, introduced Superman's new modern slogan for the Man of Steel, hopes to inspire people and the optimism and hope that will power forward with a new mission statement. So the new mission statement, and Rob sent a picture of us, well, is truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. John, what are your thoughts? Do you like this compared to truth, justice, and the American way?
Yeah. I think it's a nice, inspiring kind of new motto, bringing Superman more in the modern age. And one of the reasons is Captain America is a very similar character to Superman, kind of icon wise, and he's always, I feel like he's always been held back. Like the book is sometimes absolutely fantastic, but it doesn't quite get there because some people are like, I don't want anything to do with America or whatever right now. So it's like they almost should have. I think they were calling him Commander Rogers at one point, or they would call him Steve Rogers. So it's almost like that. If that character went that route, maybe he would actually be able to attain as much popularity. So bringing Superman this route 100% makes sense. And he doesn't wear like an American flag on his costume or anything like that. So
plus, if you want that China money, better.
Yeah. So I think it's good, and it makes sense. Yeah.
Rob.
Yeah, as a kid growing up, I always wondered why it was truth, justice, and the American way, because it gave an idea that America was this utopia that I think we can all agree. This is not, I'm not bashing America, but I don't think that that's ever been really true, especially when Superman was created in part by a Canadian. So I've always thought it was kind of weird, but you just kind of accepted it. But I don't think in today's day and age, you can't have a character who literally is globetrotting and who's recognized throughout the entire world saying truth, justice, and the American way, when I think a lot of people's interpretation or thoughts on our neighbors to the south is definitely not what it used to be even 10 or 15 years ago. So I think that it was very it wasn't inclusive to everybody, because everybody's thoughts on what the US is vastly different now. So I
then
believe,
strayed away from it for a long time. I think you used to see Superman with an eagle on his shoulder with the slogan.
Yeah. So I think it's great. I think it's, listen, for truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. It's the idea, the hope that the sun sets and it rises, and it, just like little orphan Annie always said, tomorrow, like she's always looking for tomorrow. So I'm all down. I'm down for it. I think it's great.
Cool. DC unveiled a trailer for DC Super Pets starring Crypto, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and Ace the Bat Hound as Kevin Hart. John, as a father of 2 young children, you're gonna watch this movie, right? Based
Yeah. So this it is basically The Secret Life of Pets, but recast into different animals. And for some reason, Kevin Hart makes a really good animal voice, even though it's just his regular voice.
It's just Kevin
Hart.
Hart.
Whenever you animate an animal to his voice, I guess it really works. And then you got The Rock thrown in there. I don't know if there's going to be confusion, or if his Black Adam voice is going to be radically different.
It's gonna be
It's gonna be exactly the same.
The Rock doesn't change voices. The Rock is
Yeah.
the exact. He's basically Vince Vaughn or Ricky Gervais. He's basically himself in every single
Ryan
movie.
Reynolds.
Reynolds,
He's
yeah.
right, yeah. As Pikachu.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's Ryan Reynolds.
So yeah, it does look radically different than like I guess Kevin Hart is the Ace character.
Yes, that's correct.
The
Yes.
Bat-Hound,
Yeah.
which typically is not portrayed in any type of comedic light whatsoever. So it's gonna be interesting. The Crypto I can definitely see
The Rock.
as an evolution of what the super like it's being portrayed in the comics, but the Ace is radically different from if you think of Batman animated series or even the comic book style. But I think it's gonna work.
So you're gonna watch it, Rob. I think your kids
Oh,
are a
yeah,
little older
easy.
now. Are they?
Yeah, my kids won't. You know what? Listen, I'm
They're
not
out?
running out to the theater.
Yeah.
They'll probably be out. I'm not running out to the theater to see this.
Is it a movie or a TV show?
No, it's a movie.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So I won't run out to the theater to see this. However, that being said, when it drops on HBO or Crave or whatever, about 8 months after its theatrical release, yeah, I'll watch it. Because sure, why not? Although I don't. Well, maybe I won't. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not going to pay for it.
Why not?
Yeah, I guess I will. I don't know if I want to.
You'll watch the clips on YouTube after of the funny bits.
Hey,
I guess.
All right. Yeah. Cool. The Flash dropped. We talked a little bit about Ezra Miller. John, watching this trailer, are you jazzed with the Michael Keaton voiceover? Are you interested at all in this? Because they
the
teased
weird
a lot of teasing.
the weird back of the head. I feel like that wasn't even a person. It almost looked like cardboard cutout. What did catch me though is when he goes to pull the sheet off what is clearly an 89 Batmobile, and then they cut to black, and I'm like, you guys serious? We know what's in here. Just show us.
I know.
and
So
the cowl on the ground,
that's got me interested. Yeah, the cowl, I was like, we know Michael Keaton's in here, whatever. And then you see all the different flashes. That's kind of cool. The costume, I don't know if you're impressed by the costume or not, Rob. And then you saw Supergirl over his shoulder, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or Supergirl,
Supergirl.
right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely the sheet pulling off the 8. Clearly an 89 Batmobile is definitely impressive.
Rob,
Sorry, I was just having pancakes delivered to me.
Oh, nice.
look at you. Pancakes and coffee.
Pancake
Jeez.
delivery service. Look at this
Wow.
Okay, so this is the one movie that I've been kind of like hyped about, like, I think it's going to be great. I mean, they're doing a
really?
Flash. Yeah, I know. I haven't talked about it too much.
Not since No Time to Die has Rob been a bigger stand for the Flash.
So it's directed by the guy who did both It movies, and so the first part of that trailer is this car in a foggy morning drives up to the gates of Wayne Manor, and it's very reminiscent of It, right? Even the guy's wearing a yellow trench jacket when he gets out of the cab. It's two Ezra Miller, it's two Barry Allens throughout the entire thing. The voiceover from Michael Keaton was cool, like to hear that he's talking about of all of them, you can go anywhere in time, you can go anywhere in different multiverses. Why is it that you want to save this one? I thought that was really interesting. You see the new Flash suit. I gotta tell you though, there's a close-up of it looks very plasticky, like really plasticky, but his helmet, like his cowl, reminds me of season 5 of the Flash TV show, where he got rid of the full with the chin strap and he just used this like helmet on, and it looked really bad. And so this is kind of reminiscent. Like we'll put pictures up later.
It looked kind of big.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, now maybe it will look different once they're finished post and everything else, and it'll move and it'll look good when he's moving in it. But it did look really plasticky. But I'm hyped for it. It didn't give anything away as to what the story is really about, but there are two Ezra Millers throughout the entire course of this trailer. So
I think the title alone gives it away. So you can.
It's just called The Flash.
Wasn't it?
Stiz with an S.
Flash.
No, it just says The Flash.
Wasn't it Flashpoint at one point?
No.
So.
Oh, I think that's what everybody else has been calling
Yeah.
it, but it's been called The Flash. So we'll see when we get a proper trailer. When is it? Is that dropping? Is it next?
Probably 2022.
It is 2022, but they didn't actually.
They did not give a timeline or a date.
No.
They are, like unlike the other Flash. Quick update for you other Flash DC heads. The biggest news was, guess what? This Flash is finally getting the yellow boots. That was the biggest announcement. It's like, oh, he's getting boots, and you're like, oh, okay, thanks guys.
And Grant Gustin couldn't look more impressed about actually having to record this. Like,
he's like, oh,
he was like,
great.
Honestly, man, like, I'm going into season 8. What do I need to be selling this show for? Like, he looked like he just couldn't give two flying shits. And yeah, congratulate. You don't even get all they did. They showed the boots, artist rendering.
Yeah.
They did, and an artist rendering of the outfit.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. If anybody has Instagram, just go to your search function, and if you follow comic news, you're going to see lots of behind the scenes shots while filming of Grant in the costume with the gold boots. So that's all been out there for the past week. Why not just show a proper photo of him in the gold boots? Why do an artist rendering of it? Like, oh, here's the ball.
It's kind of funny. Like they act like social media doesn't exist and you're being exposed to these things for the first time.
That's
funny.
That's it. DC also made news from a comic book perspective, talking about the Monkey Prince. So if you are Asian, especially Chinese, you know the long history of the Monkey Prince, the mythos of it. There will be a 12-issue comic book line coming out by Jean Yang and Bernard Chang. It makes sense because this IP is free. As like Greek gods, it's been around for a while. And this storyline is going to be evolving around, I guess, Darkseid trying to invade the heavenly realm. So, John, is that something you are interested in all and about this? And I'm sure Marvel's going to do their own version of this, so don't get your too because I'm sure Thor.
I don't know. For me, I don't know, Stu, if you had any attachment to really the Monkey King other than maybe Dragon Ball. I vaguely remember an old kind of Chinese TV show where I guess a character was similar to the Monkey King, but I've never had attachment to this character. So it's not a huge deal to me. He debuted in that DC festival special with all the Asian DC heroes lumped together in one. So sure, give it a shot. Why not?
All right, Rob.
Okay, I'm just gonna say this. When you mentioned it, I made a face like I had no idea that it was tied to Asian culture whatsoever. I had no idea. They didn't talk about that in the DC fandom. All I said is, hey, good news, fans, the Monkey Prince is coming to DC Comics. I was like, who the F's the Monkey Prince? Like, I've never heard.
That's probably better because when they solicited that DC festival special, they're like, oh, grab your bubble tea and get your dim sum ready for this. And you're like, come on, seriously.
That's a little too pandering. Yeah.
So I had no clue. So your question is I'm not excited for this because I don't know the property. I don't know.
He's basically like Thor, like Thor, Nordic legend. It's the same thing with the Asian Monkey King. Like, this is the person who protects the heavenly realm, and there are other Asian gods involved. So this is Thor, this is Hercules, this is that type of thing, but just in Asian culture.
But see, you're explaining of this to me now in
Makes
that
sense.
17 seconds or whatever, 12 seconds was more about the mythology of the character than it was what we got yesterday in fandom. Like, I literally was starting to tune out because I was like, I don't even know what this is about. And like, why do I care about a Monkey King? Like, what's happening here? Like, so I didn't understand. Yeah. So you know what? Hey, cool. Listen, if they can integrate it and make it fun and exciting, then maybe I'd pick up the first issue. But I hope for those if you are Asian and you're very excited for this, I hope that it does the character well for you.
Yeah, I'm sure Marvel will do its own version because this is again kind of like how there are gods in both the DC and Marvel universe, so they'll just continue rolling out. So I look forward to both interpretations. Next thing, Gotham Knights, the game. Again, same thing. No game footage, just a trailer of cutscenes and whatnot. Court of the Owls, John. Are you hyped? Are you going to play this game? Because this is truly...
well, at least they did show off gameplay footage during, I guess, the last reveal. I don't know if it was during Fandom last year or some other event. So at least we have an idea of what this game looks like. It's 2-player, some type of cooperative, but I really, really love this Court of Owls setting. I would say that Suicide Squad trailer was more impressive overall look-wise, but this one with the story added on of the whole Court of Owls thing, and they show a lot of the characters. They got the mask going on and the kind of music to go with it and a lot of the visuals. I'm really excited for that part. And it is neat to see all those characters. So I look forward to if they're going to inevitably do an action figure line for it or something. So they only released like 1/4 of the Al figure from the DC line before. So I think definitely highlighting this story arc, which is considered one of the best modern Batman, if not Batman story arcs of currently right now. So if you haven't read it, definitely pick it up.
It's in the first omnibus.
Yeah. That's got me. Yeah, and you can get soft cover, all kinds of different formats. So I look forward to them exploding this this aspect of Batman more. So I was excited. Yeah.
Rob?
So just a quick clarification, because I'm sure maybe in the comments people are being like, Rob, you're an idiot. Rocksteady did the Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League game. WB Montreal is the one that are doing Gotham Knights, so I apologize. Listen, again, it goes back to what I said. This is a game for a console you may not be able to buy in 2022. I'm excited for it. I like the Court of Owls. When I got back into comics, that was, they were really showcasing it. You had Snyder and Capullo talking about the Court of Owls and the mythology behind it and the idea. I know that Gotham as a TV show tried to deal with this. They've tried to mine the Court of Owls even in the animated properties. I don't think that they haven't been able to hit the special part of that story in their interpretation thus far. So hopefully with video games and the storytelling of video games and the interactiveness, they'll be able to pinpoint what was so cool about that story and make you feel like you are part of that, as opposed to what they've done with Gotham and some of that, the TV show. So yeah, I'm cool. I'm down. I would love to play it. I just don't know if I'll get my hands on a PS5 in 2022.
You'll be able to get an Xbox. You can switch to Xbox and you'll probably be able to find one.
I don't know if I could do that, bud.
What if they had done
the value
Metal instead of this?
But the value of the Xbox Pass is the Game Pass is unparalleled, Rob. Like it's hard. If I had the options right now, Xbox or PlayStation, I'd go Xbox just for Game Pass alone. I'd be playing Back 4 Dead right now as we speak because it's basically free for $10 a month. So I could try a bunch of games and like, this game's not good.
But for a guy who's been primarily playing Fortnite, it doesn't make sense for me to be spending another subscription service, right? So
we'll see. Yeah. All right. Oh yeah, because your son is playing with his.
No, he's a Call of Duty guy. He's off the Fortnite train, and I'm 5 years. Yeah.
He's too busy teabagging his opponents. So we'll continue on. All right. Batman Cape Crusader dropped news of that. This is a Matt Reeves, J.J. Abrams, Bruce Timm, and James Tucker vehicle. This is going to arc into Batman Year One. It's going to be very basically Batman the Animated Series Part 2, without probably the fantastic voice cast. John, do you care about this?
I've tried so many. So this is a new Batman animated. For some reason, I forgot that we were doing this question, or I didn't see anything about it. So this is the new animated series that you're coming out with.
It didn't show anything.
Didn't show anything. Besides
yeah. And it has people involved in this Matt Reeves Batman movie in it or something like that.
To be more realistic, this is before the Justice League. Well, he's just trying to figure. There's no tech. He's like going to go through different models of the Batmobile. Like this is
yeah. So aspects of this when we get to this trailer, I think are going to play a factor. And yes, I am interested. I think they've done a similar comic. I don't know if it's a similar project, but Batman Imposter comic book came out recently with one of the writers from the movie on it, and it is actually really a cool take on Batman. So yeah, it definitely would have me. I'll definitely check it out. I've watched all the other ones, or at least given them a couple episodes of tries. So yeah, why not bring me a new one? Yeah, sure.
Rob?
So I had to consider whether or not this is something I'd want to watch. I really enjoyed Batman the Animated Series, but I'm going to say this. I don't own it on the Blu-ray set, and every time it's been discounted on iTunes to like $60, it's usually like 100. I've never pulled the trigger because I actually question whether or not I would dedicate the time to watch more than the first few episodes and then just be like, oh, I have other things to watch. So my preamble is because I look at this, I'm like, okay, another Batman cartoon. Will I actually care? It needs to stand out for me to slot it into all the other shit that I'm watching, whether it's TV shows or movies. Sometimes for this stuff, like for our shows that we're doing, I have to slot that stuff in. Will this stand out? And based on what I heard yesterday, probably not. This might be one of those things that I would just download on my iPad and kind of watch, in the background while I'm making lunches for the kids. I don't think I'll dedicate time for this, But hey, show me something. In Bruce Timm I trust. So show me something. We'll see. But am I excited? I have no ways about it. I'm not dreading it. I'm not excited. I just don't care.
Yeah, Rob, like you said before, I like you, John. I'll watch the first episode. I'm down. But the gold standard's been dropped with Batman the Animated Series. There is nothing better.
Yeah. Well, what is the most recent one? Is it that the Batman one?
The
or
Batman
whatever?
was one. There was Batman Brave and the Bold, where basically it's
Yeah.
Batman hanging out with every other. Typically,
It actually turned out to be
that
a
was
great
like a
show. If you ever
Hanna-Barbera
watch it on the
type show.
repeat, yeah.
yeah, that's all over the place. So yeah, there's been different attempts since. I think that run of Bruce Timm and that team was Batman, then it was Batman and Superman, then it was Justice League, then Justice League Unlimited. That arc alone is pretty much I'm set. I don't need to watch anything else. I'm good. I will watch that arc over and over because, to your point, Rob, those episodes are classic and it's perfect. Just even the episode where I can think of not the big drop ones but even the one where Bruce Wayne forgets who he is and is in that mine. That episode's fantastic. Just a regular dude, memory loss, fighting off bad guys. So it's good. Young Justice Phantoms season 4 trailer dropped. 2 episodes dropped yesterday. I watched them both. I'm down. If you have not watched Young Justice, this is just a reminder. Do it. It's worth your time. Amazing.
But I don't think so I saw seasons 1 and 2 when they dropped on Netflix years ago.
Yes.
I watched them with my son and we quite enjoyed it. And then they were gone for a while. And then the fans brought it back with season 3.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where that is. I don't think it's streaming anywhere.
It's on HBO Max, I believe right now at this time. But it should drop on.
I thought they dropped it on Netflix for a second, but I haven't had I was really into season 1 took a second to find its footing. Season 2 was phenomenal.
Yep.
Definitely could have topped the old Justice League cartoons and stuff like that. And then they got cut short and they had to wrap up their storylines and the ending wasn't that great. And I haven't gone back since. So I don't know if
season 3 is tremendous. It picks up where it left off. Season 4 just dropped 2 episodes of 20 something as well. So
I think the problem is I don't want to go back and have to rewatch seasons 1 and 2.
You don't have to because
to get back to where my mental state was. Right?
Every jump, season 2 to 3, there was a couple year jump, and then even in season now from 3 to 4 has been a year jump. So the characters are changing.
Maybe I'll give it another shot. But yeah, unfortunately, they lost me with the whole potentially canceled and then coming back.
But season 3 was called Outsiders, and so there's this app that I use and it tells me where things are streaming or where I can buy it. In Canada, you can't buy it or stream it anywhere. There's nowhere for you to watch it. So
you just have to wait. Yeah.
Well, it was 2019. We're in 2021. I'm not really sure how much more I need to wait. It's just I don't care. Like if you're not gonna make it available for me to be able to stream it or watch it, I don't give 2 shits. So
when it is, we'll come back to it. But it is definitely worth the watch. I enjoyed it, and I like these characters, and I continue to want to see them. So this is for you on notice. Get it in Canada. So
like what the hell?
There we go. DMZ dropped. Just again, Ava DuVernay just was mentioning that there would be a 4-part miniseries, the adaptation of the acclaimed Vertigo series. Again, for those who don't know, New York has fell into disarray. The different blocks and boroughs have been cut into different subdivisions. It is a demilitarized zone. So America's in the Civil War and New York's kind of in the middle. There are 80 issues, but this is just, I think, like a prequel as they described it. So this is just 4 episodes leading up to potentially a huge series, I guess, to see whether people want to watch it following the Battlestar Galactica route. We'll see the miniseries, and maybe if it works, we'll get more.
I remember that. Yeah, it worked well for them. Yeah.
Is that something of interest, John? Do you want to watch DMZ?
Yeah. I have vivid memories of this book, and I think I actually did like it a little bit more than Why the Last Man because of the setting. And this setting definitely leans itself well to the TV treatment. I think the main character is like a reporter, right, who kind of gets dropped in and kind of like covers the story of what's going on in events and stuff like that. So 100% and 100% it would work as this limited series or whatever they're gonna format it as. So
Rob?
So it stars Rosario Dawson and so in yesterday's unveiling of it,
Benjamin Pratt.
Right. And so they just showed pictures.
Yep.
They didn't show any footage. which I thought was interesting. And and I think they said Rosario's character is kind of an amalgamation of other characters from the comic created for this specifically for this show. So that all being said, I'll watch it. It's 4 episodes. Like there's no commitment. I can watch it 4 episodes. I do enjoy what Ava DuVernay directs. I think she's got a masterful eye. So is a great storyteller. So I'm very interested to see how this plays out. And at the very end of the day, if it's a banger and it's amazing, we're all going to lament and wish that DC let her do her New Gods. And if it's not for us, and we're going to be like, whoa, dodge that bullet. So, we'll see. But it's 4 episodes. I'm down. It's HBO. It's going to be
Benjamin Bratt. He's the guy from Miss Congeniality, right?
That's correct. As well,
I think people think of like Law and Order. You dummy. Nobody thinks.
No, you do.
That's where Congeniality.
No, nobody says Congeniality.
He was on a show called The O-Ring at one point too, as well, right, or something like that.
He was in Doctor Strange. That does that. He was the
basketball player in Doctor Strange.
Yes. He was a Prembong or something. He was the guy that
nobody ever says Benjamin Pratt and thinks Miss Congeniality. Like,
yes, 100%.
Your brain.
Let us know in the comments if you went straight to Miss Congeniality.
No, you think Law and Order.
Law and Order.
There's something wrong with the way your brain operates, man. I don't understand. You and Timbo Slice, the fan of our fan of this show,
E-ring, not O-ring, E-ring.
I was gonna say O-ring, something completely different.
Okay, so it's a thing. Okay, let's roll it. Other just for people that don't really know, Titans as well as Doom Patrol both dropped that they're getting additional seasons, so they're both getting a next season. So if those are you who are not watching Doom Patrol,
season 4 all across.
Season 4. So they did little things of describing. Next week is the season finale of Doom Patrol. Oh no, of Titans. It's been interesting. Season, and I
saw the clip. It looked good. The little clip they showed of the Robins. I guess
this season's been up and down. I think
us in Canada will get it in January.
Yeah.
So
freaking hell.
The clip I showed John before about Nightwing being awesome is pretty much the highlight, and that was episode 1, and you're like, it's awesome, and then by episode 3 you're like, this show, what are you guys doing? And then Doom Patrol, there's only 3 episodes remaining, and that is also very weird and very all over the place. So
that's a show that we get again, something on Crave in Canada. I keep forgetting. Like, I saw season 1 and I watched it all. I wasn't overly impressed. I was very befuddled, which is a word that's not often used. I was befuddled by it, and every time you mention it, you're like, "Oh, this is great." I'm like,
befuddled.
There's a season 2, and like a fart in the wind, my friends. I'm like, "Oh," and it's gone. So I never think to watch it.
I can't believe you're not supporting 007 himself in this. That for shame on you, Rob. I don't even know who you are.
Well,
jeez.
After his horrible turn in The Rocketeer, I'm not sure I can in Timothy Dalton I trust.
Oh man, you're missing. He's great as Culver. It goes, and I'm a super big fan of Watching Doom Patrol.
You are.
They did the Dead Boy Detective Agency, which was just stellar. And then now that's getting its own spin-off show, so I'm super excited for that as well. So there's a few things, and again, this trailer, without breaking anything, Mr. Mala and is in this season. So anytime I see a giant gorilla in Mr. Brain just kind of just hanging out, I'm all down. So the Masters of Evil. So anyways, and Masters, whatever the team called, I'm forgetting.
Masters of the Universe.
Masters of the Universe. Okay. So then again, Supergirl retrospective, talking about the finale, the Flash, we got Boots, and then
Superman and Lois. They showed us
Superman and Lois
again. So this is another
they
thing.
Showed the house. They're like, here's the house, and you're like, cool.
And it's so stupid because this show, and John and I have talked about this. It separates itself from the rest of the CW. Like, the production level is quite high. I quite enjoyed Superman and Lois season 1. And they're like, hey, we're going to show you the scenes from our first day of shooting on season 2. And as it was literally a walkthrough the house. Like, and I felt like I was, when you were a kid and you went on a school trip and like, hey, we're going to take you to the Lucy Maud Montgomery Museum. Yeah. And let's walk through and we're going to show you, this is where, Jebediah would sleep. And this is over here is the kitchen where all 18 family members would get together for dinner. And I'm like, great. What up? And I was like, there's no footage. There's nothing about the story. It was a walk. It was a 6-minute walk through a house, but it's a set. I couldn't give a shit. So what a waste of my time.
Yeah. So
I fired it up and I turned it off. Yeah, they got to the kitchen and they were talking about it, and I was like, nah.
It's so funny because they're like, oh, we're trying to separate ourselves from the universe. I mean, we're like, I have a special place because that's where it premiered on Supergirl. I'm like, oh, then you're not separating yourselves at all. This is right, your thing. So
they've tied everything together, right? Yeah. So now if you look up continuity because of Legends of Tomorrow and all that thing, everything is tied together. I was like, what's part of the Arrowverse? I'm like, oh, Black Lightning is now part of the Arrowverse because of the crossover. I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. Right.
So we'll go skip through. Brotherhood of Evil is the correct term. I screwed that up, and that's Brotherhood of Evil and the Brain as it. Anyways, so we're gonna continue because whatever. Rob, Shazam, Fear of the Gods, the unveiling of the villains. Dame Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu. John, are you down on this? As they also said, we're embracing more fantasy. We're going to farther places. We're gonna go to, all the parts of fantasy. Are you interested that?
Yeah, so Shazam 1, I only saw this year and actually liked it. I watched it on streaming wherever the hell it popped up on streaming or whatever, and had fun with it. But so the Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu, I didn't know Lucy Liu was in it. And I remember they released some really unflattering pictures of Helen Mirren in the costume. Yeah. It definitely looked a lot better in this footage here. And the costumes look hella better for all the Shazam family or whatever, and Zachary Levi is definitely a very charming dude. So yeah, I'm in. Hopefully I can see this one in the theaters because I do feel like I missed out on that first one.
Rob?
Yeah. So again, we have seen, especially at San Diego Comic-Con, where they've been like, hey, we've only been filming for like 3 weeks, but we put together something for you, and you get like a 1.5-minute teaser of what they've shot, make it look like a trailer. This wrapped filming, what are we in October? This wrapped filming in like August or July, and you're telling me that you couldn't put together a small teaser or something? Like, I appreciate the behind the scenes stuff, but when you see Lucy Liu running with a blue pool noodle that will be CGI'd into something else, and she's doing like, I'm like, wait, like, why? I appreciate you're gonna show some behind the scenes stuff, but show me something. I want to see some action. I want to see something. Showing me, set drawings of the Rock of Eternity, the House of Eternity, the Mountain of Eternity, and I don't know, maybe the Bathroom of Eternity. Okay, like that's great.
They did show the clubhouse with all the
kids. They showed the clubhouse. Yeah, I mean, and you see that the one thing I do have to say I'm excited for is, like, I'm glad we're out of this origin story. I'm glad that the costumes look a hell of a lot better, especially on Zach Levi. He doesn't look as swole like from like wearing like a fake outfit. But David Sandberg is a horror guy. And that was part of some of the best aspects of the first Shazam movie, was the horror element that he had. And now seeing the CGI rendered of what the gargoyles, the Minotaur, all of these ancient Greek mythological creatures of destruction are going to be playing a role in this. And seeing like that, for me, has me really excited. That was your greatest weapon in the first movie. Why you wouldn't showcase this more is beyond me, but okay, fine. So I'm down.
Fair, as much as I want to cast this down like you, Rob, they're learning from Bond's failure of, don't put the trailer out too soon in case the pandemic may continue on. Let's just, we're jockeying for position in terms of when the movie comes out. It's the reason why Spider-Man trailer, they're like, they left so much on the table, and it's December this movie's coming out, because if you do too much, like they did with Fast 9, with Black Widow, with all these movies, and then you got another trailer, you're going to give away pretty much the entire movie. So I think everyone now is cautiously optimistic, or cautiously like putting stuff out there slowly. But to your point, they could have done a 30-second sizzle reel of like a rendering of what she's holding, but that could be very plot specific. Maybe she's holding a gargoyle that's like this in the background. You don't want to give that away, Rob.
Or maybe it actually is a pool noodle, and that's like there is no rendering.
Yeah.
Listen, this is a movie that's coming out in 2023. We've got 2 years until this thing drops. I think
when that title card at the end drops, I was like, whoa.
Yeah. I think putting out a 45-second, teaser of showing something wouldn't have hurt or ruined. I think you would have been like, oh, cool. So whatever.
All right, here we go. This is the only thing that matters to everyone.
Wait. Before we get into this, are we going to do anything about Batgirl and Blue Beetle or no?
There was nothing to say about Batgirl and Blue Beetle outside of
okay.
like here's concept art.
Well, that was the thing I was going to ask you. I mean, they're like, hey, we got this wicked costume. I haven't seen it yet though. And it's like
Blue Beetle. John was like, I want to say my costume's the best. I haven't seen the costume. I don't know what it looks like, but my costume's the best. I'm like, wait, what? It's like,
and that's directed by the guys. No, sorry, it's Batgirl is directed by the guys that did Bad Boys for Life. So, John, I know that this excites you.
I think I've already stated, Bad Boys for Life was one of my.
Let's roll this out. But Rob, we're taking away. I like how Rob's trying to take away time from Batman.
Dude, you want this out as running long possible. Here, and you
he wants to talk about stuff.
It was just quick hits. It was quick hits. Yeah.
Well, this was not as quick as I wanted it to be, but we're gonna keep on going. And Blue Beetle thing was just here's a costume, and we're excited to bring you nothing. Here's a concept art. So great. Thanks. Thanks for coming out. Because as Rob mentioned before, there is a difference between what a costume could look like in a rendering and what it looks like in real life. So we're still only have certain materials to build these costumes. That's why Marvel does it so well, is because they kind of balance that line, and most of the costumes are pretty well done. And then you look at the Flash's battle armor one and you're like, eek, from the Justice League. All right, here we go. This is what you've been waiting for. We've had an hour conversation just to get to this Batman trailer, the big one that dropped. John, what are your thoughts after watching this 2-minute and 22-second trailer of the Batman, which we coming to you?
I want to find out how many hours Rob has squeezed in. I wonder if he would take in 4 hours of this trailer on repeat.
No. I've been watching it the entire time we've been talking.
But to make a long story short, I'm in. It looks really good to me. So I don't know if I'm just in the mood for this type of movie or whatever. But like this Batman character, he's doing so well. He's got like a million comic series going on. So it's almost like we should have a new Batman movie every year, and it can explore different styles and different actors and actresses. I think so. I think Batman is that huge that they could do all kinds of stuff. I really love the car.
They said all the Star Wars.
Yeah, maybe, but but I think Batman can handle it.
And what happened there, John?
Different versions of Batman. We're not going to talk about Star Wars because that's going to lead into another.
They're like, we can do a Star Wars movie every year, and that derailed quickly. I don't think, John, I agree with you in the sense like they theoretically could, but there are already camps being divided because just like you have your Bond, you have your Batman. And if you did one every year with a new Batman, there's too many hives out there that will just fight each other in terms of the death of which one's the best Batman and Batman storylines. It is, going to be rough. And for property, you couldn't do much too because everyone's like, well, I want this Batman to connect with these heroes. Yeah. Like it would be a knife fight in a small bathroom, John, with people talking about who is their favorite Batman. I guess if you want DC to internally fight, let's do a Batman movie every year, but I can only imagine the chaos that would ensue.
I think they should. There's that much Batman content. Like every week we could release what's hot in Batman comics segment if we really wanted to, because there's that much Batman content.
Yeah, but it's different spending $6 a week as opposed to spending all that money every year for a movie.
I think they could do it. But yeah, he looks good. Robert Pattinson looks good in the role. I don't know how much younger, like how old is he during the filming of this? I don't know if anyone knows. But they do show a little bit of behind the scenes, and they're talking about such a young Batman. So I don't know if he's the youngest guy to play Batman to this state or whatever.
Yep.
But I like it. I like the idea. Catwoman looks good. The Penguin, I think that's Colin Farrell is an unrecognizable Colin Farrell as Penguin. It looks like it's probably only going to be an intro scene or some portion of the movie, and then he's going to go away, and then we're going to get into this Riddler stuff. I like seeing him. There's this one point where he kind of punches the glass. I guess he's talking to Riddler or something. He's like, "Where's the girl?" or something like that. I like this idea of Batman just being frustrated and kind of on edge, trying to do all the things that he wants to accomplish. So I'm I'm in. I'm excited for this.
He is 35 years
Yeah,
old.
okay,
so maybe that's a younger-ish Batman compared to the guys that are all in their 40s. What was interesting, we should do this trailer, John, but both Rob and I were laughing because when Reese was talking to both Pattinson and as well as
Zoe Kravitz.
They mentioned that Robert Pattinson actually wore the Val Kilmer like Batman
Batsuit.
costume,
In screen
the
test,
Batsuit
yeah.
for the screen test. And man, oh man, that's like, it just brought me back to the Val Kilmer documentary, and I'm like, oh man, that's tremendous. So
I wonder if they're ever going to release that footage or an image or something like that.
God, I hope so, but because Val Kilmer's the boss.
Well, they will. They released Henry Cavill wearing Christopher Reeve's Superman 4 costume during his screen test. So
So the only thing that, before I jump to Rob, if you haven't watched Val Kilmer stuff recently, watch
Val,
Real Geniuses, watch Top Gun, and watch MacGruber. He is so good in MacGruber. Don't do that. Val Kilmer, his acting choice in MacGruber. When was the last time you saw MacGruber?
I don't know. It's been too long.
Oh God, everyone steals from MacGruber. MacGruber is amazing. So just again, it's my sleeper comedy movie that I'll go back to and watch. It is so funny. Rob, what are your thoughts?
Okay, let's get back to something that's important. Screw MacGruber. Let's talk about the Batman trailer. Listen,
I'm muting you right now. Forget it. We're done. You're done.
I'm muting you. Here's the wait, did you mute me? No. Okay. Here's the thing.
Yeah, I did now. There you go. So
okay. So here's the thing that so John was like, oh, this is a younger. The aspect of this Batman is that he's like, this is not year one Batman. This takes place after year one. They're very open about this during the panel. Pattinson said, this is every iteration of Batman that we've seen on screen. He's been controlled. Like, he is in control of his emotions. He's in control of what he does. This is a Batman who is still trying to find that level of control where he is up all night. He's not sleeping. He's got this mission, and it's consuming him. Even and the lines between Batman and Bruce Wayne are blurring. And so the whole aspect of Batman being out there and not at that point that we are used to seeing, an uncontrolled Batman grappling with right and wrong for the purpose of this mission, excites me. There's been a lot of good Batman stories where they've said, he says, like, it's hard for me to maintain this level of control. I could kill this person, but I have to control myself. And to have this now being thematically done, where I'm not saying he's going to kill anybody in this Batman movie, but that he could come very close to it before, like, that is exciting to me. You don't know, it's on the edge. And then throwing in the fact that you've got Paul Dano as the Riddler. I mean, Paul Dano is like an actor's actor, right? This guy, he sounds creepy. We don't see the Riddler's face at any point in this trailer, or even the last one. Matt Reeves is probably best known for doing his Planet of the Apes, the last two movies, or did he do all three? And the last two, and they're fun, they're dark, but this looks on such another level. Like, the cinematography, the shots in this trailer, like, they don't hide the fact that you've got Batman. He is in a lot of this trailer. If you look at the Dark Knight trailer, Batman Begins, or any of these other ones, you see a lot of Bruce Wayne and some shots of Batman because they wanted to entice you. In this one, it's like, hey, we're called the Batman. We're going to show you the Batman. And that's what you see. The fight scenes, the hallway with the gunfire, the interaction with Catwoman. Like, they didn't hold anything back. This is not a lot of exposition from Bruce Wayne talking. This is, you're seeing your character on the screen for a good portion of these trailers. I messaged Stu, I'm like, wow, because they also showed some behind the scenes stuff, but in that and in this trailer, they're still going with Nirvana's Something in the Way, which is what really pulled people into that first trailer last year. And they're still, so for me, there's a tone, a haunting, a darkness of this movie that I don't think we have seen in any previous Batman iterations. And I'm all for it. I know that I'm a big Batman stan. I know you guys are like, oh yeah, whatever, Rob. But I think that this trailer, again, it separates itself from its counterparts, much, the Marvel stuff. So I'm down. I'm very excited. I think Pattinson's voice is amazing. Like, I think what he's done is great. The rumored runtime is close to 3 hours, and I'm all for it. Like, if I could buy tickets now, I had no idea this was coming out March of 2020, like March 4th. That's not too, like, we're at the end of flipping October practically, right? We're 4.5 months away. So,
we're weeks away from the Eternals.
I have a cruise
and
coming up at the end of this year. I have a cruise that I'm going on around the Christmas time. And yet I am now more excited for the stupid movie.
Are you? Wait. Cruise. You're more excited for this Batman movie than the Spider-Man movie coming out in December?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Because you know what? Because this is a Spider-Man that we've seen. We've seen Doctor Strange. We've seen the MCU. We've seen this. This looks to me like a whole new take on a character that I quite enjoy, and I'm all for it. I want to see this.
This movie looks fine, but it's missing one thing. Dafoe. That's all I'm going to say.
The foe or Dafoe?
Dafoe. William Dafoe is what is missing right now. I need more.
So you're more hyped for Spider-Man than this trailer?
100%.
You like this trailer?
100%.
Yeah.
The trailer looks fine. It's weird because I'm not used to Batman just taking straight bullets. Like, it was so weird.
It was very RoboCop like.
Yeah, I was like,
he was struggling. I actually liked it.
I was like, what is normally he wears lighter, like he doesn't wear the body armor to protect bullets because he's like, it takes the excuse is it's like, oh, I need the agility. I need to move around fast. So this is just like a Batman. And it'd be interesting if Andre was here to talk about it. Like, he's not afraid of just like taking straight shot bullets, but that's maybe he would say bad writing because what if there's one part of his face is not protected by bullets and it goes right there.
But they never shot RoboCop in the mouth. So
yeah, like they could shoot Batman in the
maybe
mouth.
There's this myth that Batman eats bullets and shoots them back at you.
Yeah, but this is also a Batman though. If he is that on the edge, the thought of death doesn't concern him. Like, if he's out there doing he knows he's going to get hurt. What is death? Really, at that point, like, is it the belief he's going to go to Stovacor? Is that what's going on right now? No, I don't. What? So what? You don't know your Klingon mythology? Oh man.
No, Rob obviously doesn't need to.
Wow. All right, cool. Or you want me to drop some Jem'Hadar now?
I'll play along.
Or life is victory. What?
So I just think that. I think, you can say, well, yeah, you can get shot in the face, but I don't think he cares. I think he's just like,
well, you could say you put your head down a little bit and they get like kind of like your,
like the trailer ends. The trailer ends with a shot of Pattinson upside, like of it being upside down because you're looking at it from the perspective of the Penguin. Like, if you were to actually freeze frame most of the shots in this trailer, it's going to blow you away. So the fact that it's a 3-hour movie and their rumor is that the Riddler is very much like Jigsaw from the Saw movies, like psychological. It's a psychological game. I'm down, man. I cannot wait. Yeah, I think Zoe Kravitz looks great.
We might finally see Batman as a detective aspect more.
We're learning to be that detective, right?
Everyone's been clamoring for. I thought the suit looked really good too. Like I'm a big fan of the suit and
it was a lot better than I initially
and how the cowl. Yeah, and how the cowl looks on him. I thought it looked really good.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down like Charlie Brown. I cannot wait. Just don't pull that ball for me. Make sure it comes out in March 4th.
John, the question to you is, are you excited more about the Spider-Man movie or the Batman movie?
I actually thought I would be more excited for Spider-Man, but I think I'm just more of a Batman guy for some reason. And this is just hitting.
All right.
This is just hitting an exact spot for me. So I'm always a big fan of cop movies. So it looks like this is almost like a Batman cop like movie. And the Nolan Batmans, I think still are among my favorite of the superhero stuff. So it did give me like some vibes from that. So and the car, you turn Batmobile into a muscle car. That's an easy button for me.
All right. Well, that will be our finishing up. So John, tell us where to find you on the interwebs and in the desert of the real.
Yeah, so thank you everybody for subscribing to the YouTube channels where you can find all of our content. If you're missing Andre, he will be back for TGIF with him and Jesse. They've been doing a really good job of covering a lot of the comic book stuff and things going on in the shop. So definitely check that out on our feed. Heroes World Online as well on the Facebook, Instagram, and even the website that'll take you there. A lot of our new products are trying to get posted there, especially the new toy releases and things like that. And you can message us through any of those services and we'll get back to you. And then if you're listening to this on the audio, Heroes World podcast on Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, whatever you use normally, and you can get us on the go. So you can just listen to what we're talking about. Yeah, in case you don't want to watch all the visuals here and Stu making crazy loopy loop faces. So follow us there. And then if you're in the real world, we are still open and you can come in and walk around and check out all our fantastic stuff, new products almost every day arriving. It's crazy how much stuff is kind of being backlogging and finally showing up. So 8601 Warden Avenue in Markham, if you're in the area, drop in. We're open throughout the week. You can check our hours up on the website and drop by. Lots of fun stuff, bubble tea, cookies, McDonald's, all kinds of stuff you can get at our plaza, and free parking, so you don't have to pay and go too far.
Yeah, like always, if you can support local in any way possible, please do. Small, big purchase. Christmas is coming up, so anything is helpful. They'll ship as well. If you are unable to financially help them, please help us just by liking, subscribing, sharing, clicking that bell on the social media channels, whether it's on YouTube. It just helps us get more reach and get people connected to the content, which is
links in the description for everything.
Helpful because people can see and get inspired and eventually go to the store and buy some stuff. So it's all peachy keen. Rob, where can they find you? What's going on Monday?
Well, listen, we're talking about how, the Batman trailer is haunting. You know what else is haunting? Halloween movies. And we are in the season of the witch, as it were. So tomorrow on the Sidekick Show, yeah, go ahead, roll your eyes. That just popped off the top of my head.
I'm waiting for your Hocus Pocus reference.
That's not happening. Tomorrow.
Wait, have you not watched it with your daughter yet? Is she
yeah, we've watched Hocus Pocus. My daughter doesn't care for movies. I spend money on these movies. I'm like, let's watch it. And then she's like, I'm out.
Amazing.
So
have you delved into the Step Up and dance movie category? Save the Last Dance?
Yeah, she's watched it. She's like, that's cool. I'm just gonna go dance in real life because I'm a competitive dancer. So in tomorrow night on the Heroes World Sidekick Show, we are moving it to 8:15 on Mondays. If you're asking why, hey man, Mama G, she's teaching night school and my daughter's in dance and somebody's gonna go pick her up. So that's me. So 8:15 on YouTube, Twitch, wherever you want to watch us on Facebook Live. We're going back, the Wayback Machine, 1984, Wes Craven's Nightmare on Elm Street. So the man with the knives for fingers, Freddy Krueger. Does it hold up? Does this movie hold up in today's day and age? Will it give you the willies at night if you're watching this? So join John and myself, and we have special guests Gordon and Sarah. Sarah, whom I love busting her chops. I'm looking forward to the four of us diving into Robert Englund's interpretation of Freddy Krueger. We will catch you tomorrow night, 8:15 on the Heroes World Sidekick Show.
EST.
CNN, KFC, whatever. Yes, obviously it's at nighttime.
well, no, not. I didn't say Eastern Standard Time. We have people that watch in different areas.
Yes. Okay. So comic book Craig, who is out in Calgary, for you, it'll be 7.
It'll be 15 minutes later this time. So hopefully some people will be able to jump on. They don't normally get in 15 minutes.
I think Mountain, is it 2 hours behind the word?
Yeah, it's 2 hours. It's 2 hours.
There you go. You're just the worst. And our fans
You're the worst.
are 3 hours behind.
So so we'll see you at 5:15.
There you go. Thank you for really recognizing the international time zones that people.
And for those in Newfoundland, I'm sorry, it's gonna be late. It's gonna be 10:15 for you. Okay, so I apologize.
There you go.
That's
thank
quick
you.
math.
Yes. All right. Thank you everyone for joining us today at Fandome. Have a good one.
Wait, is it 10:45? Are they an hour and a half ahead of us?
Whatever.
You know what? We'll see you on YouTube tomorrow night.
A burn. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Enjoy your day. Please let us know your comments. What did you like most about Fandome? Are we wrong? Are you excited? What movie do you want to see more? Batman or Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Let us know.